At 70, the story of Chris Evert is not just about tennis trophies or records etched into history. It is about endurance, loss, and quiet strength forged through heartbreak. To the world, Evert will always be the calm, composed champion who ruled women's tennis with ice-cold precision. She won 18 Grand Slam singles titles, dominated an era, and redefined what mental toughness looked like on a tennis court. But behind that graceful image was a life shaped by battles far more painful than any match point. As she reached 70, the weight of those personal tragedies became impossible to ignore, revealing a woman who paid a heavy emotional price for a life lived in the spotlight. Ever's public career was built on consistency and control, yet her private life often unraveled in ways she could not command. Raised in a tennis family under the guidance of her father, Jimmy Evert, she learned discipline early, but that same intensity followed her into adulthood. Her marriages, all highly public and deeply scrutinized, became emotional fault lines. 3 marriages ended in divorce, each leaving behind scars that success could not heal. For someone known as Ice Maiden, the repeated heartbreak exposed a deep vulnerability that fame only magnified. The most devastating blow, however, came not from romance, but from family. In 2015, Chris Evert lost her sister Jean to ovarian cancer. The loss was shattering, not only emotionally, but medically, because of her sister's diagnosis. Evert chose to undergo genetic testing and discovered she carried the same BRCA1 mutation, placing her at high risk for the same disease. What followed was a terrifying reality. Cancer was no longer an abstract fear, but a personal threat waiting in her own body. In early 2022, Evert announced that she had been diagnosed with ovarian cancer herself. The news stunned fans who had grown up watching her appear almost invincible. This was not an athlete battling age or retirement, but a woman confronting mortality. She underwent surgery and chemotherapy, stepping away from her broadcasting role at the Australian Open to focus on survival. For someone who had always faced pressure with poise, this fight was different. There was no opponent across the net, no strategy to outplay fate. Although she later announced she was cancer-free, the victory was fragile. In 2023, Evert revealed that cancer had returned. The recurrence carried a cruel emotional weight, proof that even after doing everything right, some battles refused to end cleanly. It forced her once again into treatment, uncertainty, and fear. This time with the added burden of knowing exactly what was at stake. Beyond illness, Evert has also spoken openly about regret, about time lost, relationships strained, and the cost of being perfect for so long. Tennis gave her everything, but it also demanded more than most people ever saw. The pressure to be composed, polite, and flawless left little room to process pain in real time. Much of it came later when the applause faded. At 70, Chris Evert's tragedy is not defined by weakness, but by resilience shaped through repeated loss. Her story is heartbreaking because it reminds us that even legends bleed, grieve, and fear.